Hello, everyone, and welcome to this issue of Authors in Conversation. Now, I've got living legend with me, Scotty Schindler, who's just launched his new book, Make More, Do Less, the best sales system ever. Now, who wouldn't want to know about that if you're someone in business? But Scotty, hold the phone for a minute, because what I want you to do is just tell us a little bit about what got you from where you started to where you are now.
Yeah, cool. I look, it's a long story, but I'll really give you a helicopter view of it. So I left home when I was 18. I started making windows and shop fronts. I wanted to get into sales. No one would give me a job in sales. I ended up selling insurance. I did that for 10 years. Then I decided to start my own business. So I did that. That was a 4-year journey to get started. Anyway, in the end, I managed to sell it and retired early. So at the age of 46, I was not just financially independent, financially wealthy, and never needed to work again. Although I did want to stay on in the business, but I didn't like the new owners, as happens a lot of the time, right?
Yes.
So I thought I'm just going to retire, bugger this. But it gets pretty boring after a while. There's only so many, surfs you can have a day, and so many times you can mow the lawn and wash the car before you start ticking over with new ideas. So hence the reason why we're talking now.
Yes, exactly. No, you wouldn't be as alive as you are if you weren't helping people in the way that you are by writing books like this, for example. So tell us more about the book now then.
Yeah, well, how the books came about was, I woke up one morning and I realized that a lot of the things, if not all the things I tried to do before I started my company, I thought, a lot of those things worked. I was like, wow, they did. And I thought I really should leave a legacy for my boys. I should really somehow or another document this stuff for my kids, because one day I'll be there for them, or maybe I won't. So I thought, well, I should document this stuff and leave it as a legacy. So the biggest motivator is legacy, not money. Well, I am making money out of the books, but take that out of it. The biggest motivator has been legacy. So I thought, well, that's what I'll do. But the reality is all I've done all my life is coach and train. So I started running sales teams at the age of 20. So I've been running sales teams. I've been teaching real estate agents how to sell for the last 20 years. Now I mentor all sorts of different people. So putting that information into a book just makes sense. Like, it just makes sense. In fact, I've done videos and things like that, but the books have far outweighed anything that's ever come out of videos or courses. It's unbelievable. I can't believe the difference. I thought videos would be awesome, but it turns out, no, the books are better.
There's something solid about books, Scotty. It's the tactile nature. Even if you're getting an ebook, I often get an ebook. If I like it, I'm going to get the print version, and mostly I don't get ebooks.
No, look, I have read them, like, on a plane. They're pretty good on an iPad. But, the funny thing is these are the first tangible thing I've ever had to sell. Now, when people buy something, I hand them something. And I go, wow, it's amazing. I've actually got something that's tangible. It's something people can feel and play and look. And so I don't know whether it's been better for me as a owner of the product, or whether it's better for them as they buy it. But the transactions have been really satisfying.
Yeah. What's great about books too is you can post-it note your pages, you can underline things, you can really, really engage at a different level, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Saw my book the other day. Someone had it and they opened it up and I could see the highlight marks they had in the book. I was talking to someone else the other day. They said they're doing it in their book club. So they're using the first book, The 5 Systems of Successful People. They're using it they're using this in their book club and they're reviewing it regularly. They're going over it. What's it mean? And so that's awesome.
That's fantastic. And tell me about your strategies to get the word out there about your book, because I know you had a fantastic launch, but there's a lot more that you've been doing, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I figure, it's no good being the best kept secret either. I read somewhere, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you're an expert at the books and I'm not. I'm just someone who's done it. And I read somewhere that on average, people only sell about 250 copies of their books.
Yeah, and some people are really doing well if they do that.
Yeah, that's right. Like one of the things I'm a big believer in is so what? So you've written a book or you've done something, you've done anything, so what? In fact, I've made a series of cards with so what written on it. And, it's one of the chapters in the latest book too, in selling. It's called So What? So you write a book. Well, so what? What are you going to do about it? Who are you going to tell? How are you going to market it? How are you going to use that? How are you going to leverage it? So what? And you've got to have that answered before you write the book, I think, if you really want to get a result out of it. But, I could have wrote the book just as legacy and left it. But I figured the best way to prove that legacy for my boys is that other people like it. So I was
Mm,
on a mission to see whether other people would like it or not. And as it turns out, the Americans are the biggest buyer of the book so far.
ooh,
They
interesting.
love motivation. They just want to know, tell me what I need to do and I'll do it.
Yes.
Uh,
And that's what is really good about the book. There's not a whole lot of theorizing. You know, you've got your foundational piece that explains why this works, but it's about how to do it. It's great.
yeah, that's right. And like it's a lot of the people I mentor nowadays come to me because they already understand technically how to do their jobs. They're technically smart. They understand the books. They're A-grade students, they're solicitors, accountants, lawyers, but they still want to have a lateral look at it. And the book is all written in that way. So the systems are about lateral thinking, so with business judo, with time duplication, it's about laterally thinking about those things. Systematically putting it as part of your DNA. So systematically every day you're thinking about, well, how do I do that? When people read the book, they'll understand it. It's written in such a normal way, not an academic way, not a professor way, very street smart ways that people can not only understand it, but use it.
And it sounds like you've fairly effortlessly found your place, with the real estate.
No,
Tell me more then. Yeah.
no, well, I actually, the real estate software came as an accident, but
Mm,
all I've done all my life has been train and teach business people how to grow businesses and salespeople how to sell more.
mhm.
So I did it for the 10 years. And then when the software got going in the real estate industry, I then did it for the real estate industry, obviously. So I started doing all the training and the sales training and business training.
Mhm.
And it worked really well. So, I'm pretty happy about that, but it wasn't effortlessly. I mean, I had to make things happen.
Yeah.
That's part of that's why every one of my book titles will have some sort of action orientated. It's not about getting something for nothing. You've actually got to make things happen. You've got to do something,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Yeah,
like
and
this
it's not
one's
just about,
working smarter. You still got to work.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
just about reading the darn book, is it?
Yeah, that's right. And it's so effortlessly. No, maybe I did have some, so I could relate to them, and we could relate to each other. We all come from a sales background, same sort of understandings, but I wouldn't say it was effortlessly. No.
Okay. Well, your gift you do have is connecting with people. That's, I think, one thing that would have helped along the way. But what do you reckon, as you talk to a lot of people and as you say, you mentor and you advise, what do you think are the main mistakes that people are likely to make in business?
Oh, geez, in business. Well, at the end of the day, I'm not sure it's a mistake or not, but the patterns are always the same.
Mm.
People always need solutions around people. Every business is in the people business, and developing people, developing themselves, putting in personal development programs. Personal development is the number one thing that most businesses don't invest in. They might
Mm.
invest in technical knowledge, but that's not sales know-how. It's not leadership know-how. It's not those things. So I would suggest that the biggest challenge most people have is actually people. It's a very consistent story that you hear from every business owner, whether it's clients that they're not happy with, or whether it's staff they're not happy with, or suppliers they're not happy with. It's the people they're not happy with.
Yeah.
And it's, if we solve the people problems, we solve most problems.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's the number one thing that comes up all the time about just about everything. It's always people. Well, I have system 1357. One is people. People first, people over everything, but how? And that's what I teach people, is how.
And what's the 357?
Well, 3 is the CAN analysis. That's the conditions, actions, and needs. The 5 is the book I've written, the 5 systems.
Yeah, right.
And the 7 is the 7 time tactics.
Mm.
So to manage time. And then that's wrapped around a triangle, which is, I call it a success triangle, which has, it's an equilateral balance of sales, leadership, and business. And if you get that right, doesn't matter what scale it is, whether it's small scale or large scale, you've got a pretty good business and you're achieving just about everything that you want to achieve.
I love it. And what's happening with the book at the moment, Scotty? So you had the launch.
Yep. The new book?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So the new book, I launched it last week. Ready or not, out it goes. And I have to do that because I'm going overseas in 4 weeks. So I didn't do too much marketing or prep for it. But anyway, so this went live. It finally went live on Amazon yesterday or the day before. So I finally saw the links. I'm not sure where else it's gone. The first book I only published directly on Amazon. So as an independent publisher, just Amazon will do.
Yep.
Now I've gone through a distributor to distribute it now to everything else. So this book's now gone through a distributor, and I'm re-releasing this book, version 2 of it. Okay, it'll have a new cover, which will be consistent. The
Yep.
whole idea is I'm writing a series, so that there'll be a spine at the back that's consistent, and
nice.
Yes, I'm writing a series. So what have I done since the launch? Well, I've made a series of cards that go with it. So these cards you can learn from and go through, do your self-paced learning. I'm just about to finish a workbook that goes with it as well, so you can go through the workbook. So it's not just about reading it; it's about, well, so what? So you learn the system called FAD, for example. Well, so what? How are you going to use it? How are you going to implement it? So we only remember 10% of what we hear, and 30% what we hear and see, 50% what we hear, see, and read. But 80 to 100% of what we hear, see, read, and review. So by the process of writing on the back of the cards what you've learned or going through the workbook is that process of, you hear, see, write, you're reviewing. In fact, the cards are designed that you pick one card, spend 3 to 5 minutes a day for 7 days. There's 52 cards. So it's a year's worth of program, just personal development. One card, 3 to 5 minutes a day, and learn something. You can pick whatever you like. So you can use the cards, you can pick something out of the book. And that's as simple as it is. 1-3-5-7, one card, 3 to 5 minutes a day, every week for 7 days. And you've got 52 new systems or techniques that you've got to make more money. They're the simple systems that I teach people. Street smart systems that are easy to use, easy to learn, easy to implement, and better still, if you're a leader or you're in business, easy to teach. You can teach your staff, you can implement with your staff, clients, whatever you've got.
Yeah, lovely. I like the idea of street smart as well. There's no point being academic around this material. You just got to get down there, get down and dirty, do it and succeed.
Yeah. And like the first book with the 5 systems was the one book that if I ever wrote, it was the one book I really wanted to write. About business judo, time duplication, the business thirds, rule of 100, and sugar and cream. I really wanted to get that out for my kids, right? Yeah. If no one ever bought it, well, so be it. I had a crack at it. But, it's now been sold in America, Canada, England, Spain, believe it or not, Brazil. One went the other day in Germany. I went, oh, Germany. Where else is there? I'm missing somewhere. It doesn't matter, right? India. And it's about 600 books, and I haven't really done much with it. Yeah. Really, it's just sort of sitting there. It just plugs along. So I've done twice as much as the average person's expected to do in 12 months. I've gone, sweet. So I did bother with the second one, and I don't know how that'll go.
What do your kids think?
Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure if they're reading the books or not, or whether they're just flicking through or not. I mean, they're now turning, well, at the moment they're 19 and 24.
Okay.
And the motivation for the next book is 100% my eldest boy, because he's bought his first house. He's going really well. He wants to buy more. And he was asking questions. I said, I've got to write the next book, because the next book is about wealth creation and goal setting and all these sorts of things, right? So that's actually my next book. And it's actually the #1 book, which is about you and people. And so hopefully they read it. But, it's funny. It's like, it's easier for me, as much as I can talk to my boys, it's actually easier for me if they read the book and then ask me questions about it, as opposed to just coming to me trying to talk off the cuff about it. But they've been there, they've seen it all. So in some ways it's like, how you've got kids, right? And someone else says something to them and they go, hey, guess what I heard, or guess what I saw, or guess what I learned? You go, I've been saying that forever. What are you talking about? It just took someone else to say it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's the best place for people to catch up with you? How can they can certainly buy the book on, all your normal retailers, can't they? The Amazon.
Yeah, they can, or direct, it's up to them. But yeah, the best way to catch up with me is LinkedIn on my website, scottyschindler.com, or System 1357. But a little bit of a backstory. So when we first met, and I believe we met in 2000, was it 18? Yes, it was 2018. I think it was September 2018 at a conference. I'm pretty sure that's where I got this from you.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
And I write about you in one of the books, but I couldn't remember it was you until I got the book out and went, I think it was Jane that actually I'm writing about. And how you're handing it out. And it was like a business card and a bit of a Trojan horse. It might have been the Trojan horse chapter of this one. And, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to find it, but I didn't reference it by name because I couldn't remember who it was.
So it made an impression. And
I've always remembered it.
What's so funny about that actual event was that I turned up with all my books, and what do I see? Some other person's already put their book on all the seats. And that was Christopher Collis. Now, I don't know then if you remember that the first speaker made a point, and he was the Minister for Small Business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He actually made a point of talking about picking up Christopher's book and, being really interested in the subject matter. So as I'm sitting in my chair, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to milk this for all it's worth. And so, of course, I then stand up and change what I was going to say and just going to say, do you see what happened?
Yeah.
Collis's book, and I just completely refocused what I was going to be saying and how I said it. But I just thought, oh boy, I just love it that there are opportunities like that to get your book in the hand of a person that maybe they don't read it. Maybe they put it down, someone else picks it up and reads it, or someone like you happen to mention it in your book and people maybe investigate more, or who knows what happens. But thing about books is they circulate.
Well, in the second system, I talk about time duplication.
Yes, you do. So tell us more.
And time duplication is the one system that every successful person understands. So they duplicate themselves, they duplicate their products, and they duplicate their money. And every single successful person you talk to does that. So the good thing about us is, look, I'm not a singer, so I can't write a song, nor am I an actor. I can't make a movie, but I can write a book, which I can write once and get paid for over and over and over again.
Exactly.
That is time duplication. What are you investing in this year that's going to pay you again next year and the year after and the year after that? And most people don't do it. They don't invest in next year. They just keep being busy working. But what are some of the smart things you can do? And books is just one of the ways you can do it. And I write about it in this book, but it's what all successful people do. They duplicate themselves, and books are a perfect form of time duplication. That's why I did software, because I could write the software once and sell it to 1,000 people.
Yes. And you did incredibly well out of that.
That's why I did it. It wasn't an accident. All the systems in this book is how I started a company. The company had to follow these 5 systems. And it did. I had 6 attempts to get it started up, but it did follow it. And it was, I kept it as a secret for a long time. It wasn't until I did the Google Startup Grind talk. So Google asked me to do a talk for their Startup Grind series. And I mentioned time duplication and business judo in that talk. And at the end, when people can ask questions, I got asked about it. I went, oh, wow, people actually can relate to this stuff. So I trademarked the names the very next day. I got up and went, I'm trademarking them. So because I Googled them and I found there was not much on it.
Yeah, interesting.
I went, well, they're my phrases I've had now for 20-something years. And if I'm going to talk about them and I'm going to share them in, not because I don't want people to use them, I want people to use them. I just want some protection on where it came from. So all your clients out there that are thinking about it, it's one of the things that we can do as people that have a story or some knowledge to share. It's one of the things we can do that will pay us over and over and over again. And it may not pay us back directly. So I had a guy turn up with a book, and he was more prepared to spend $10,000 with me with mentoring than read the book. I'm thinking, well, why don't you just read the book? But he goes, no, I want your time.
Yes.
So I go, okay, here's some time.
Yeah.
I still want a bit of beer money too, right?
Exactly.
Well, some advice for some of your people I'll say out there. I reckon, and this is me, you can change it and correct me, but I reckon each book's taken me about 1,000 hours.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Okay, so I reckon each book's taken me about 1,000 hours, give or take. So my recommendation for most people is don't do it on your own, because you'll never finish it. You will never, ever get it done. I'm lucky I got time, right? So I can go surfing in the morning, come back, spend a few hours and do it. But it took me 4 years to finish this first one. And during that time, I also started writing this one. It just took a year later to get released. The next book I've written or writing, I've already been writing anyway for the last few years. And I'm going to get all my videos transcribed. It'll go into the book. Then I've got to tidy it all up and make it into the book. So I've been writing these books since 2019 when I started making videos and courses online. I'm just getting that transcribed, putting it into books, but obviously then thinking about it properly, because once you put it in a book, it's fixed. It's like full exposure. There it is. Whether you've said it right or wrong, someone's going to analyze it, right? They're going to analyze that written word. So I started this process of writing a book way back then by recording it and then just getting it transcribed. So it's still taken me another year just to edit the transcriptions.
Yes.
but I had the time. And if you don't have 1,000 hours, find someone to help you. They'll be able to do it in half the time and twice as fast and twice as good. So you'll end up saving yourself a bucket load of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so if you're going to time duplicate, don't make it time erosion by meaning you've got to do it all on your own. Well, pay someone a few dollars so you can keep making more money. If it's a $5 job and a $50 hour, get someone else to do it that can do it better than you.
Perfect.
Is my opinion. I tell everyone that. I mean, I seriously am so lucky at the time. I had no way in the world I could have ran a company and written a book. Not a chance. Not a single chance in any time at all. None. So I would have paid someone. But I didn't have the intention of writing a book back then. It was only because of legacy that I got motivated to do it.
Yeah. Well, Scotty, look, thank you so much, because I know this will have motivated people, and you've given us a whole lot of great value as well. So folks, you've got to look up Scotty, but one or both of those books will set you up pretty well to really catapult your business up to a whole other level. And especially those cards, genius, Scotty.
Cards are, these are a game changer, right? These are an absolute game changer. But so this isn't an accident either. So in the 90s, a little quick story for you. In the 90s, I made my own. Oh, wrong way around. Where are they? They're all back to front and twisted now. So I'll just show you some, right? So little 3x5 cards, highlighted quotes on it, little motivational stuff. And I always wanted to do it. And I bit the bullet a couple of months ago. I said, I'm going to start doing it. So I've got the cards for this book. Actually, so I've got the deck of cards for Make More, Do Less, the 52 cards. I've got the cards for the 5 systems of successful people, 52 cards. And the workbook is on its way out as well. So as you can literally do your own self-paced workbook, like 1 card, 3 to 5 minutes a day for 7 days. So 1 card, 3 to 5 minutes for a week, and you'll have 1 new system or 52 new systems or 50 new techniques or habits, whatever you want to call them. That are going to help you make more money and have a better year next year than you had last year.
Nice and simple, nice and practical, and really, people, I reckon you should get onto this. So, Scotty, thank you so much, and we'll be watching this space, because there's that next book coming up, and that sounds like a cracker.
The next book's going to be really good. It's going to be a really good book. It's going to be along the lines of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I have read in the 90s. I haven't read Barefoot Investor, but everyone tells me sort of things about it. So it's going to be along that line. It's about you and, creating wealth. It's about being healthy, wealthy, and wise, and balance in life. So one of my slogans is strive for healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that's what that book's going to be all about, the next one. This one's very much so about working smarter, being systematic in your approach.
Yep.
This one's very much so about making money, having those conversations with people so you get paid. Without money, what's the point?
Absolutely.
Many of your authors, in this book, I tell you why you should do it. And in this book, I tell you how you get paid from doing it.
Yep. I love it.
So, and the next book's about healthy, wealthy, and wise. It's about that balance in life, which is what most people want to achieve. And I talk about how I managed to achieve it.